See the no, for some strange reason.
It's not bad, man. Twist you around, snap you up, and release all your pressure points. You know,
I was at the chiropractor today, and this is my third visit. So, you know, he snaps my neck, does all that stuff. I'm laying on it like a table. And today he like pushes something in my neck and he goes, "Oh yeah, it feels much better." And he goes, "Hold on." And he grabs my arm and he goes, "Let me find the sweet spot." And he hits that. And I go, "Fuck," right in the chiropractor's office. Like, "What did you do?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, that's the spot right there." And then
Chris is the first one.
Yeah, I was the first one. I felt bad for the little nurse that was right there because I was like, "Fuck, what did you do?"
Did you get instant relief, or was it?
No, he hit something in my arm and he was holding on it like really hard, and it hurts right there right now. It's bruised, but he was pushing on something in my neck at the same time. And when when he pushed harder in my arm, all of a sudden something released in my neck. So it was some voodoo stuff, dude. Like it just went in my neck. Like, but now my arm hurts. So
I was gonna compliment you on that beard today, Bill. It looks like you teased it, like Paul Abdul or something. You know what I mean? Like teased it a bit.
Got some new beard jelly from Boss Man Beards.
Nice.
If they're watching, send me some free stuff.
Straight up.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Ray run $20 because I was the first one to cuss.
What?
Look at these guys doing side bets in the side chat.
Yeah, side bets. I didn't get in on this action. We could do some insider betting over here.
We could rig it. We could totally rig it.
You guys, the people that are betting in the chat, guys, send me an email and I'll help you guys out. Whatever you guys want to bet on, we'll make this work.
Figure out how big the pool is.
Mm-hmm.
So what's on the agenda tonight, guys? We did Jews like 2 weeks ago.
God, Bill,
we did shit stories prior.
Shit stories.
I work.
No, actually, tonight we have something much better than Jews and poop stories. We got the big boss from Trutech Tools on it tonight.
Gonna bring him in. There we go. Look at that.
Hey, where the hell is Bill? I wonder how many people know that old show.
I know that is such an old reference, like an old person like I am. But hey, I'm young at heart, right?
That's all that matters.
That's what they say.
So how you doing tonight? This is going to get so confusing for me because I have two Bills that I'm talking to. So I've got Bill Spohn and I've got.
I will do my best.
Bill. Oh, damn it. I forgot the last name for a minute. Bill, what's your last name?
My last name?
Yeah.
It's HVAC guy.
Curious. Okay. I forgot your last name for a minute. I got it now.
We'll just leave it there, Stefan.
Yeah, just
a minute.
We'll just leave it there.
You butcher my last name all the time, so
your real name is Stefanovic.
Yeah, Stefanovic. No, it's not.
So, for all those people out there who don't know Bill Spohn, you pronounce his last name Spohn, and if you don't pronounce it that way, he will smack you around a little bit.
Virtually smack you around.
Virtually, yes, virtually. So he's the president and CEO of Trutech Tools. Is that correct?
That's correct.
When was it? You started in 2007, right?
The company started in 2007. I actually joined in 2009, but I was helping from 2007 from the very beginning.
And you started it with Jim Bergman and Jim Bergman Jr., correct?
No.
Yeah, Jim and his dad, both Jims. Yeah.
Oh. Nice. Well, I don't want to dive into all that stuff right away, but
you just did.
Let's keep it going then.
Did I just hear ukulele?
We can get back to that later. No, that's
my chair.
No, I think that was Joe's microphone. That boing.
Oh yeah. That was Joe's microphone.
Boing.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, but real quick, Trutech, because I'm really good at interrupting my friend Bill. But Trutech Tools, was it not Jim Bergman and Jim Bergman's dad, right?
Yeah.
And then Jim Bergman Jr. works there now, right?
Actually, he just left us last month, like 3 weeks ago.
Got it.
He took another job, but
Chris.
Yeah. But Jim Bergman's wife does work for us. She works part-time in the warehouse, Robin.
So it's a big family kind of a thing.
Big family affair, yeah. And Eric, my business partner, his son works in the warehouse, and my son, Bill Jr., works in marketing.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but don't you guys all share one big warehouse now with Trutech?
Yeah, Measure Quick or Manifold Cloud Services. We rent them about 1,200 square feet. We have 15,000. We rent them a little spot. They wanted to move, and we had some extra space at the time we moved. So
that's awesome.
It's good relationship because he goes out and steals shit from the warehouse.
I would get a job there to steal stuff. I would wear jogging pants every day.
They're gonna pat you down
in a big vest,
like you're working at Ross or something.
Yep.
You're gonna check your purse on the way out.
Like, oh no, Bill's making a run for it. So I gotta ask you, Bill. Has anybody been upset when they order Veto bags off your website and they don't get a picture of Chris in their tool bag? I imagine you're probably just inundated with emails. Like, where in the hell is my framed picture of Chris Stefanovic? I ordered a Veto bag specifically for that.
That
It only the Canadians get upset.
No, it takes a lot for.
I
mean,
did.
it does. Wow.
It takes a lot to upset them.
That was one of the funniest little clips that you
Yeah, it
ever
was
did.
really
Bill.
great. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Made me laugh. And so there's a side thing that Bill does to me. So we have a group chat between the four of us that we kind of go back and forth, and I always torture these guys with family pictures. When I go out with my family, we go hiking, we do stuff, and I always torture them with like these pictures. Hey, look at this. We're climbing a rock. We're doing whatever. And so Bill takes and photoshops those pictures.
I guess he didn't like your story, Chris.
I guess not. I guess not. But I'll keep going with it. So Bill takes and
Oh,
photoshops
brother.
those pictures. And did you do that, Adam?
no.
No, I did it.
Oh.
I clicked on the duck.
I've never clicked on the duck. So if you click on the duck,
don't be clicking on no ducks.
very interesting.
Chris is
It's
gonna
all
be
about the
gone.
Canada Goose.
Yeah. But so
it was a
Bill,
Canadian goose. Yes, is what it
The
was.
Canadian Goose.
Bill takes those photos that I send and then he photoshops himself like very creepy in my family photos.
Oh, it's
And
amazing.
then sends them back to me. And the first one I showed because I started cracking up and I show this to my wife and she's like, who is this person? Like, what is he like? And he puts himself in the most awkward places in my family photos, like just creeping behind a tree in the background. So it takes you a minute to realize that Bill's just sitting there.
Does it scare your kids?
No, they think it's funny. I guess that's probably
okay.
a bad thing though, because I probably shouldn't teach my kids that that's
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
Random internet dude.
They should be scared of like internet folk.
Yeah, they probably should.
So Bill Spohn. I was thinking for a while.
I'm not
I
going
was,
to get confused. You guys don't ever ask me questions, so
yeah.
True.
I guess we don't ever talk to you, right?
it's basically it.
We
Yeah.
usually just talk over you.
I'll just be over here drinking out of my Honeywell cup.
Shut up.
How did
Damn
you?
Honeywell cup.
What was your path that brought you to HVAC and like led you to where you are today with your podcast and your company?
So what brought me to HVAC was I got laid off from another job, and I, applied for a job at HVACR, and I impressed the guy that was hiring me, and he hired me like a couple weeks later in engineering, and I had like no idea about HVAC at the time, but they made, of course, combustion analyzers, and just I really enjoyed the products, the measurement and the things, and then the customers too. I just felt like people are real people, just want to do a good job for other people, and it really got me warmed up to HVAC. Then worked for Superior Valve, worked for Testo for 10 years, and then at Testo, like halfway through that time there, I met Jim Bergman. He is actually an instructor at a trade school. He came to a trade show in Cleveland called Famous Supply Expo, and he started harassing nicely one of the Testo salespeople because he wanted to learn more about this thing called a humidity stick, Testo 605H1. And so they gave him one kind of like a lollipop to placate him. And then he kept asking more and more questions, and they said, "Hey, you're the product manager. Can you just work with this guy? He's driving us crazy with so many questions." And that was like the start of our relationship, our friendship, which led to Trutech Tools, which eventually led to iManifold, which eventually led to MeasureQuick.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
How do you, so coming from the background of the companies that you have worked for, was it hard for you to come to Trutech and start pushing other people's products? I mean, did you grow accustomed to the companies that you had worked for and the quality of their products?
Well, at the very beginning, Jim and his dad were like, they started the company because somebody at Testo suggested to Jim's dad, you should do this as a retirement hobby. You should start an internet site because internet was just growing. This is like back in December 2006. You should start an internet site. And they came back to me and said, "Hey, what do you think?" And, you're a Testo kind of connection here. And I said, "I think it's a great idea." And Jim said, "All right, we're going to come up with a name for the company. We're going to call it Totally Testo." I'm like, nah, you're just going to limit yourselves. Give me another shot at another name. And they came back with Trutech Tools. And I'm like, that's a great name. Stick with that name. So originally started, I was still working at Testo. Jim was still teaching at school. and helping his dad part-time. And his dad was literally, he had inventory in his spare bedroom, was packing it on the dining room table, was putting it out on the porch with a little clipboard for the UPS guy in the milk box. And that's where the first shipments from Trutech came from, in Richfield, Ohio.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Super cool.
Hey, Bill, JD had a question for you. Does Trutech Tools offer an apprentice tool discount program?
Mr. Green.
We offer all kinds of discounts, and they're pretty much like all the same. Usually I say, get a hold of our sales manager to talk about anything in particular or special.
They could always use the HVAC Overtime offer code.
Yeah, they could.
No,
And they should.
HVAC.
Can I cut in for 1 second?
I don't even know what it is. I can't even plug it.
Hold on, wait.
HVAC OT, guys.
Hey, can you stop stepping on me? You need to use the big picture. Come on, don't use the.
Listen, guys, we're talking about discount codes at Trutech Tools right now.
Yes, we are.
And I'm going to cut in because I was thinking about this. I hung out with Nate Adams and Bill. I was impressed. I went through the whole blower door thing, and it was like a process because I was trying to finance it. I didn't want to pay for it all up front. So I sit there at night, and I actually have them listed here because I was going through like a list of internet codes or discount codes. I was thinking like, man, this is an expensive blower door. I bet there's like an inner circle discount code where you get like 70% off. So I was just kind of going through typing random things in, and the first one was value testers can have Steve Ladd, mama.
Yeah, that's a good one.
God.
And then it didn't work. I was kind of surprised.
Going nowhere.
It didn't work.
Quite the
was going
build-up.
nowhere.
Yeah.
So, and then the second one I tried was, who is Jim Bergman's daddy?
Nothing?
No, that didn't work either. But
You probably forgot the apostrophe in there. That's what caused the code to fail.
and then
That's funny.
the last one, I was like, are the guys from HVAC OT kidding me? It didn't work either. So I just gave up and I used like Chris's
Big
code.
picture.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I was waiting
This
for it.
code, come on.
No, I didn't. I actually used Nate's code. He freaking earned that.
That's
Yeah.
fair.
That's true. That's true.
And I like how Adam, thinks that there would be like a secret code, instead of people just calling Bill and saying,
Oh, I
"Hey,
bet
I'm about
there
to
is.
buy this,"
Right?
it would be like the
I
inner
bet
circle.
there is. I bet there is. Like, hey, Bill, can I get an employee discount on this thing?
Yeah.
Sure.
So Bill, do you have your own offer code?
Yeah, me personally,
Like Spohn?
I have one for my podcast. It's HVAC BS.
Oh, see. Well,
There you go. See,
There you go. You guys want to order stuff? Use that one.
HVACBS.
Do you want to
So
talk a little bit about your podcast?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. What about the
Yeah.
podcast? What was the whole process of wanting to start that?
So I got invited by Brian Orr.
Okay.
You know, the blue
Brian
collar
Orr
roots.
wanted to form a network. So he got Brent
That's right,
Ridley and
Blue
Billy
Collar.
Notes.
Yeah, the Blue
Blue
Collar.
Collar Roots Network.
Yeah.
Tersh Blissett, Brian, myself, and kind of all different aspects of this thing. I think the network sort of, I wouldn't call it fizzled, but it's just really not active right now. That's not really so much a network.
Mm.
It was a great idea to start with, but he encouraged me to do it. Gave me some lessons, some instructions. Typical Brian teaching something, right? And sort of set me up with a producer that I still use today. So
Oh, wow.
I don't do my own audio production. I pay somebody else to do it
Yeah, smart.
because I just work on the content part of it.
That's
And the interesting thing from that is, so I've done 49 episodes so far. I've sort of fallen off in the last year, but I'm getting back into the swing of things. Like the fourth episode I did was for somebody in the building performance industry. His name is Steve Baden. He started an organization called ResNet. They do the HERS ratings. So new homes can be rated by a builder and get a score, and that can be used to get what's called an energy efficient mortgage. But Steve came on the show, and a few weeks later, he calls me and said, "Hey, we want to start our own podcast." And I said, "Okay." And so me, typically, I write this long thing up, like 2 pages of how you want to do it. And Steve comes back and goes, "Would you do it for us?" So I do the Res Talk podcast too. So I
Oh,
do
okay.
2 of those every month. They bring me the guest, and just all I ask for is just a one topic line and some background, and then I just explore the topic with their guest, and then they use that. And interesting too is they also had me do be the moderator for their town hall at last year's trade show.
Mm-hmm.
So they had like all their attendees come, and sort of just like, you know, a political town hall, but with the ResNet board of directors and their standards board and things like that. So it's given me some fun experience to sort of, you know, try some different things out. I'm always game for doing one thing, you know, something different once at least.
That's really cool. So what are what's the name of your podcast?
Building HVAC Science. And the idea is that at the center of a building is the HVAC. Both of these systems have to work kind of tightly together to create, you know, comfortable, healthy, energy efficient environment. So it all centers around those kind of topics. Now I'm starting to get like emails from people who want to bring guests on my show. Like I got an email from somebody who wanted to bring a medical doctor who studies like the impact of humidity on health, Dr. Stephanie Taylor. And she's on the ASHRAE pandemic task force.
Oh, wow.
There's like 9 engineers in that task force, and she's one of the MDs on the task force. So like these kind of people are now coming to me because it's like, we kind of live in a little bit of an obscure world. You know, who would think I'd be talking to 4 guys on a Friday night about HVAC, you know, 10 years ago, doing what we're doing here, like almost a TV show.
Yeah.
The technology's got so great, and it's really allowing like people like, I'll say ourselves, yourselves, myself, to sort of blossom in our communication and just get out of our little local network and really start to do something together cohesively across the countries.
The internet has definitely made it easier for us to connect with like-minded people versus running into them at a trade show once a year. Hey, I remember you, or hey, yeah, you know, and it's like, wow, we can, you know, communicate and, you know, build friendships. And
remember before the internet, all 4 of us used to just like write letters to each other, old-fashioned letters with
I've kept all of them, Bill, actually, yours, because you perfumed them, and I've tied them with a sash also.
And I kissed him with my lipstick at the very bottom.
You did.
I thought that was just my letters, Bill. Damn, man. To make me feel not very special anymore.
Yeah,
you smelled minty for some reason.
I just got you in the feels. That's because I got that mint beard oil.
No, Chris's were minty. Yours were more like kind of like a floral aroma, maybe citrus.
Because like the letters I write to you, I motorboat them before I put them in the envelope. I put them in there. I'm like, he's gonna like this one.
Oh, good gosh. Oh,
Hey, brother.
Okay, we got down a path there, huh?
Yeah.
Usually do. We somehow find our way down there.
We segue down. Yeah. Bill, our Bill lately has been taking us down a path that I'm like, Bill, you're skirting the line there, bud.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah.
That's all right. Bill's Italian. He knows what we're talking about.
You're from Michigan, so nobody expects much from you. So.
You know, nobody does. So real quick, Bill, I got a somewhat of a serious question for you. Right now, you guys are basically the only like go-to place that I'm aware of anyway to buy like the latest and greatest HVAC tools. You know, like the shiny new stuff, the stuff that just came out on the market. Is there like a process that you guys go through for deciding what tools to sell? Like, do you just sort of have contracts with different companies and they bring you whatever they make, or?
Well, it's sort of like, you know, just like you develop a reputation with your customers, with your coworkers, with your boss, whatever, your business. And we have that reputation now, but it took a while to earn that reputation.
Mm-hmm.
I think some of it we're lucky, right place, right time. You know, a lot of it was my network, Jim's network, and now my business partner, Eric, he's got a great network, and he's like kind of doing his things his own way. And we've really kind of developed this thing where we look at a product and we give it a chance. We don't deal in a lot of commodities, but in some cases we do. I mean, because we know that you're still going to need commodity type products like screwdrivers, you know, wrenches, you know, basic flaring tools, things like that. And as far as we do want to bring products of better quality. I hate to say junk, but we really don't want to carry any junk because that's just a hassle for everybody. You'll feel burned. You, the customer, feel burned. We'll feel burned. It'll be a hassle to manage all that. And I would say just sort of like unique and hard to find products. And then Eric would tell you this, that my goal is to be first. And my second goal is to be first. And my third goal is C goals 1 and 2.
Well, if you're not first, you're last.
Yes, right. I always want to be first with the new products, with anything. And I get a little salty with some of the manufacturers. When it's like, what do you mean you didn't tell me about that?
Yeah.
I'm going to call somebody in. I'm going to call Vito from Vito Bags.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I know someone like that. Little Joe up there, right there, somewhere over there. I can't even point to the right person.
He talks like that all the time. He goes like this too. He's like, oh, he's like this.
Yeah.
Like, oh, he's like this with the
Bill
spaghetti
knows where I'm
sauce.
coming from. Bill Spohn knows where I'm coming from. We have Italian in our
Yes.
blood, hard workers, good with their hands. I was going to bring up that you guys remind me of some companies out there who the prices are reasonable, but who cares if they're more, because you guys are in the community. If somebody has a question, you answer it and you work with the techs. And that's what I loved about you guys from the start when I started shopping from you guys. So,
Well, the thing is, like, you're not comparing, you can't compare them to Amazon. Like, but the thing is, like, their customer service, you call them, they answer. And
Right.
I called them before and I talked to somebody at their house. He's like, I'm at my house right now. I'm not in the office, blah, blah, blah. And it's like after hours or something random. They freaking answer their phone all the time. You could always get help from them.
that's
I went to
right.
Harbor Freight one time and I bought a tool and I was like asking the 19-year-old clerk, I'm like, do you think this is going to work best for this job? And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about.
What is was a Bauer drill? What do they carry? I can't remember what Harbor Freight carries.
Oh, I think they carry the
Pittsburgh
Cle
something.
one on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that was the Easter egg, Bill. Was our bill on the thumbnail? There was Harbor Freight ads behind you. So in the thumbnail, I
coupons.
showed you, and you can see
Yeah.
the coupons in the background.
That's what.
Did you know they stopped coupons? Just
I
at least
did not know
recently?
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Check it out.
So
Oh.
something that I wanted to point out, and this is what frustrates me, is I find myself going to supply houses and educating the supply houses on the new tools and the new things that are coming out. And I think there's something ass backwards about that. When I go to a supply house and say, hey, all those products you have back there are outdated. They've all come up with new models of those. And, and it's kind of frustrating. And another thing is, I guess I kind of understand it, but my supply houses in my area, they don't necessarily buy from the manufacturer. They buy from a rep, and they push the rep's products, as opposed to what I would consider myself the consumer wants. One of the things that I've always liked about you guys is, because since everybody's kissed your ass, I'm going to kiss your ass too. But is that you guys tend to have things that I want. From the beginning, I wanted. I think the first product I ever ordered from you guys was a field piece HVAC analyzer. It was a long time ago, but nobody else had that. And I was able to get it from you guys. So I've always appreciated the fact that you guys have always been on the cutting edge of, products. And I guess knowing that you like to be first, that makes sense, because when I hear about a new product, I tend to see it with you guys first before I see it at most other places. So
Yeah, and I'll say, Trutech Tools was built out of frustration. It was when I worked at Testo and Bacharach, was frustration for, like, I would walk into a wholesaler. I would fill in for a regional manager. I'd walk into a wholesaler, whatever city, and say, hey, I got these great things to show you. I really want to freshen up what you got here. And they're like, I'll get right to you.
Yeah.
And you go and answer the phone. Then you go print out something on the fax and go wander around. It's like I sit in the store for a while and I go, I got another call to make where I'm going to wait somewhere else. So,
Yeah, it's not a priority for them.
no, and I can understand that, because I think their businesses are geared towards equipment sales.
Mm-hmm.
And so that almost pushes us away from equipment sales. But I'll say that it's not that we'll never sell equipment or consumables, but it'll be unique and hard to find things, or things that need an explanation or a story to help with the understanding. So that's where we tend to shine. So we stay in our lane, and we're not going to try to sell, things that exist outside of that domain.
that makes sense. And I would imagine that's a good business practice too, because then you don't have to fight the competition. You're not up with everybody else and constantly, fighting everybody. How do you feel about pricing and internet pricing and things like that? Is it super frustrating for you guys? Well, Amazon isn't necessarily the cheapest anymore, but they used to be a lot cheaper than everybody else. How was that when you guys were coming into it?
So there's this thing called minimum advertised pricing, MAP, and different manufacturers have it. We love MAP, love minimum advertised pricing. The reason is it sets a threshold for the minimum advertised price, and distributors can make a decent margin for doing work. I believe everybody should be paid for doing work. You shouldn't be paid just to slap a label on a box, but we feel like we do work for the industry, and we'd like to get rewarded for that and through the sales of products. So if there's a MAP,
yeah,
okay,
you don't need it.
You're fine.
MAP policy, we've actually written them for some manufacturers, and some manufacturers has taken us years to to convince them that it was in their best interest to maintain the value of their product. It's like, okay, you set the list price at $100 and everybody's selling it for 70. That's no longer a $100 product. What do you let happening with your product? You mispriced it. Why don't you make it a $70 product and just let people settle at that point? Oh no, we can't. Then there's no margin for you. Blah 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 blah. So we really appreciate minimum advertised pricing, and that's like if we hear about it from somebody, we don't get we don't get that person in trouble. We will report them because it's like as long as the vendor says they'll police it or they'll follow up on it. It's got to be a commitment they make. So, something about like if you look at our logo, which by the way, you had the old logo on that design there. You must have Googled Trutech Tools and pulled up.
Damn, Bill, you failed.
History banks there.
Yeah.
Or maybe that was part of the Easter egg.
Didn't you know that they came out with a new logo?
Well, I found multiple logos.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
I also found multiple pictures of Bill's, but
yeah.
But the logo has like the 3 pillars for Trutech Tools. It's customers, employees, and vendors. And that's sort of our story is we want to support customers, employees, and vendors. And even with vendors too, is sort of like industry leaders, people like yourselves, influencers. And our goal is to be amazing to those 3 people. And I never say that too much. It's more of like an internal thing. It's like, we really want to hear like people saying, wow, you went above and beyond. So that's what we gear up to do, but we don't advertise that. So we like to always, kind of go beyond.
That's awesome.
There's a few questions in here that I want to get to because I'm really curious.
Go sure.
One was Sean he's a good contributor of the community. He was saying maybe one of you guys could help as well. How to you redeem your points. That's one of them. So if anybody wants to touch on that.
Yeah, and I'll say that's one of my favorite things from the beginning that I've liked about Trutech is every time I purchase something, I realize that I get a few points and they just slowly bank up and you can use them for coupons and discounts. Maybe you can touch on that a little bit more, Bill.
Sure. It's a kind of a 2-step process. You of course you earn it only when you're logged in because it doesn't go to an account unless it, but if you made a purchase and you weren't logged in, contact customer service. We'll go back and back credit the points. We just need to know your order number, your email address, whatever. We can look it up and we can back credit points. That's never a problem. So you earn the points. We do have some products you can buy directly with points. So there's a category, and the more category is pay with points. And you don't even have to have any cash at all. You can just buy them directly with points. And then you can also buy gifts. You can convert the points to gift certificates. And there's a True Rewards page. I think it's a link at the top, the very, very top of the page in blue. Click on that, and the explanation is there. You go to the gift certificates, and then you say click pay with points, and it deducts the points from your account. If you're logged in, you get a gift certificate emailed to you, then you can use the gift certificate. We're going to try to get that to be a little bit smoother because it is too many steps in there. We recognize that.
It's good.
I would say it's really fast, though. I mean, I just purchased a bunch of stuff for all of us for the new, and I'll say it right now, we'll say it again, but we're doing a new tools channel, guys. My HVACR tools channel that a lot of you have already subscribed to is going to be all 4 of us now. And I already said it too, so we'll say it again, that the first video that we're going to do is the new Testo manifolds. Is it 550 and the 550i? I think is the one.
550i is the one without the display. 550s is the bigger display. 557s. Yeah,
that's what we did. So we did the regular display. So 3 of us got that. And anyways, but I was doing that and using the coupons when they were sent to me. And I mean, I would redeem my points, and within minutes I'd have the email with the gift certificate number. So I mean, it's seamless. It only took a few minutes. So I guess there's steps there, but I mean, it's not that big of a deal for me.
And they're all spelled out on the True Rewards page. So you go to the top of the website, True Rewards, click on that, and it tells you how to do this process.
Yeah, I think it's great.
The other question I want to put out, I don't want to put you on the spot. Dave G, another great guy in the community. Milwaukee, is that anywhere in the picture?
Yeah, we carried Milwaukee for a while, and you just need to have you need to have like a Milwaukee person to manage as quickly as Milwaukee changed their deals.
Got it.
So there would be almost a price list every 10 days. And if we didn't change the prices and either change the prices up or down, make the free offers, whatever, they would penalize us. Say you're going to lose a distributorship because you're not following the rules. Gotcha. It's this crazy kind of thing that they do. I love their tools. I bought more. I bought some for my son from somebody else because we don't carry them. But it's just sort of like not for us. We're still small business, 18 people, and I can't afford to have somebody just paying attention only in Milwaukee. Maybe I can if the sales were there, but not at this point.
So they're a big box brand, basically.
And it's amazing guys do so well without them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't need them. You can get Ryobi.
Probably all made for the same
Ryobi
people anyways, but
I think it's like neon green, like their old fanny packs or something.
Hey, I got to say that I had a Ryobi drill when I used to work at a body shop before I got into air conditioning, and it had a level on it. And that was one of the best things ever. It literally had a bubble level on the top of the drill, and it was very convenient when you were trying to drill stuff. I thought that was really cool. I've yet to see that on anybody else's drill, so I'll give that to Ryobi.
I got breaking news right here.
What's your breaking news?
I got a question from Nate Adams, the house whisperer.
Yeah.
He wants me to ask you about I don't know if I'm going to pronounce this correctly, TZOA, TOWS.
Oh, so
yes.
Sure. Yeah.
Thanks, Nate.
So like about 3 years ago, I don't know where I found out about it, probably LinkedIn or something. Somebody was out there saying they had a new IAQ product. I'm always interested in IAQ products. That guy's name is Kevin Hart. So we set up a meeting and we met with them at the ASHRAE show. Sat down with him, had coffee, and he's like, I've got this concept. He had like a personal monitor he was building, but he's saying like that really wasn't the right thing. He wanted to move it into a home monitor. And then eventually 2 years later, he's developed a whole team. And he's got this thing called the ZOA, or the Haven by ZOA. It looks kind of like a big Sharpie, like about that big, and it fits across the ductwork. It actually has a set of sensors in it that measures particulates, VOCs, temperature, humidity, air velocity, and barometric pressure. So it sits in the return of a system, and it's always measuring the whole house IAQ. It's a Wi-Fi device, so it reports through Wi-Fi to the cloud, and you can read it on an app. But the contractor, and it should only be installed by contractors, installs it and can look at a console and see their client's HVAC, and you can see these trend graphs. It can be used for sort of like predictive work for your customers. And it can also, they're coming out with, it's not out with quite yet, but something called the central air. That's called the central air monitor, the CAM. Then the central air controller, the CAC, is coming next. It's two 24-volt relays that talk through the app, so you can have air quality conditions change a device, like a light, a fan, exhaust fan, whatever, change some kind of function within the house.
So it's like IoT functions. It's looking through the internet or through your network or whatever, and
right
switch
through this device.
Yeah,
and they have some really, really accurate sensors in it. Actually, I did a podcast with Caleb Salibi from HVACR School, Ben Reed, who's the director of product development from Haven Zoa, and myself was on my podcast like 2 weeks ago Friday.
Sean and R134 made a good point. Honeywell and Sensi do have a similar product out there, isn't that correct? And there were some other companies, I just can't remember.
Honeywell, no, Sensi has it. I wouldn't say.
Well, Sensi is Emerson.
Yeah.
And there's Sensi thermostats and Sensi Predict. Sensi Predict is for equipment function, 10 sensors, electrical, temperature sensors, humidity sensors that monitor the health, or the sort of like the EKG on an HVAC system. Again, you can monitor that remotely as a contractor. Contractor needs to install it. Sure. It's only like $25 a year monitoring fee, which you could pass on to the consumer. The devices are $250 each. We just had a marketing call yesterday with Emerson. There's going to be, they're going to continue to do some heavy marketing throughout the month of March with it. Honeywell, Daikin has something called the Daikin One, which I can't say, but it looks a lot like the Haven Zoa.
Yeah.
I imagine that, once the first person comes out, a lot of people are going to follow.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, or just put another label on it. So
yeah,
right, like everything else.
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk a little bit about the project that you're still going through, but I imagine you're kind of on the tail end, which is your new home, right? That you had built. I follow you on your Facebook page, right? It's Spohn's Personalized Performance Home. There you go. I follow you, and it's been an interesting process watching you go through and document that. Seems very stressful. I mean, was it fun, or was it? I'm sure it was stressful at times, though, right? Going through this whole building a home. Yeah, I must have a high tolerance for stress, because it was a little bit frustrating. I think really where it came down was sort of like communication breakdown, and some equipment breakdown and things that didn't work out exactly right. But I tend to overthink things. My nickname is Overkill Bill. Yeah. So
Overkill Bill, that's good.
Overkill Bill, yeah. So it's like the Kill Bill movies from Quentin Tarantino. That's what I was thinking of right when you said that. I was thinking of Kill Bill. That's funny. But it's like I can think through all these things, and it's like I'm trying to prevent, and shit, it happens. Yeah. It's like that's the frustrating part. Not even so much that it broke down, but it was predictable. How do you think that this whole process went for you versus a normal person? Because I would consider you to have friends in high places, meaning, you know a lot of indoor comfort people, and you know a lot more. As a normal person, what would you imagine that this process would be? Would they just be ignorant to most of the stuff that you stressed about? Yes. Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. And like we had a situation where there was a leaky flare joint in the heat pump, which leaked only in heat pump mode, not in air conditioning mode. And we didn't move in until heating season. It was running during air conditioning season just fine, keeping the place nice and cool, dehumidified. Heating season started to lose performance, kicked into resistance heat. And I'm like, why are my electric bills, not the electric bills, but I'm like the electric monitor is what I put in. Why is that so high every day? Yeah. And it was because resistance was on. So it took me like 3 weeks to figure that out. First, I thought it was thermostat set points. Then I thought it was zoning control. Then I thought it was something imbalanced. And I'll say that, I work with people like those HERS raters I talked about, ResNet. Right. They're basically third-party independent committing agents, new homes. And I thought, I don't need a rating on my home. Well, I was wrong. I needed a third party to walk through certain things that I found out about later on. Yeah. It's just sort of the rigor of you think, or trust but verify kind of thing, to use an old phrase. Yeah. And here everybody hates the fact, but I live in California, and HERS rating is actually the law here. We have to have HERS rating.
And most people think of it as a joke, but there's value in it for sure. Think of, and imagine the value that comes to a person that is completely ignorant on the whole process, to have a HERS rater come in and say, no, yeah, it works, but it's not right. This is not right. And, consumers oftentimes don't know anything about the matter.
I feel like that's almost comparable to when Nate Adams came to my house and introduced me to home performance the very first time, like that whole process to me. Like before that, I was completely ignorant to it. And then he set up that big fancy wind turbine in my door. And man, as soon as he did that and I walked around my house, like the idea of home performance really clicked. I don't remember most of what he said or all the math and $5.
I just want to know, was your beard flowing? Was your beard flowing?
Yeah, the whole time it was like a shampoo commercial, just wind blowing.
He's on.
So
Nate whipping his hair back like that. It was awesome.
That's awesome.
So Bill, okay, let's, with you being somewhat in tuned in everything that's going on in the house building process, what did your wife think of the house building process? Was she, is she just like, can we just get this over with? Or is she totally on your page, or is she thinking that you're crazy for stressing about everything?
No, she wasn't. She wanted it to be over with and wanted the frustrations gone, but it wasn't like, you keep bringing things up. No, she would validate, yeah, you brought the right thing up. And we'd sort of commiserate that. So, and the other thing is Marilyn's worked for Trutech since 2014. So she's been around me for so many years, 30 plus years.
She's used to
she's just used to this.
Like a glutton for punishment.
Yeah. That makes sense.
You got to, what's Amazon bringing now? What kind of new toy or piece of electronics are they bringing now?
With your, it's a net zero house then, right?
The goal is to be net zero. So we do have solar here. And we did produce a lot of solar in the summertime, which actually banks with the utility. They bank the kilowatt hours. Oh, and then at night or when it's not sunny, you draw from that bank of kilowatt hours back off the grid. So we gave it to them. They give it back to us as energy.
So you don't need to have any sort of batteries at your storage systems or anything. Oh.
Right. The utilities are battery. Oh, so cool. Our electric rate 16 cents a kilowatt hour. So it's not super high, but it's not super low. And if at the end of the year, if we have anything left in the bank once a year, they'll give us credit minus the generation transmission fees. So it's like 7 cents a kilowatt hour. So, it's sort of like an aspirational goal that it would be net zero. The heat pump wasn't working correctly during the winter. And it's actually still low on charge. I just found out the other day, yesterday, it's low 4 ounces. The charge is 81.1 and it needs 4 ounces more.
Now, how do you know it's low by 4 ounces?
This is the manufacturer telling me this. I took a picture of the frosted up lower portion of the outdoor unit. And he said, you probably need about 4 ounces is going to take care of it.
I bet you need a new TXV.
Always TXV, Bill.
I bet you.
Now, curious, I don't know if you're aware, but I believe he did a blower door in his house as well. Isn't that true?
Me?
Or Bill?
Yeah. Curious. Yeah, of course. We actually did 2. We did one before they were quite finished to button it up. We did another one when they said they were done, but we found some leakage. And then there was some repairs made after that. We're getting down to like 1 ACH 50. I don't know if that's significant to like code is like 3 ACH 50 now for the latest energy code in northern climates, 5 in southern climates. So we're 3 times better than the best northern climate code. And our goal was to get to 1 and even a little bit below. And
see, all I know is the little number Nate's blower door when he was doing my house was in the 6,000s.
Oof.
Yeah. I assume your house isn't in the 6,000s?
No, mine was 789. The last test we did.
Yeah.
So how long ago was your house built, Bill?
I'm sorry.
Mine or his? Curious HVAC guy.
Okay. 1897.
1897.
Yeah.
So I give you a pass.
Yeah.
I give you a pass.
We had doors, like when you hook the blower up, some of the doors, you just couldn't close them. There was that much air going through, like the basement door. I mean, you could obviously physically close it, but it normally has a lean to it and closes on its own all the time. But you had to really, really give some, some oomph in there. It was a good time. So with your house then, Bill, about how far along are you in the process? Are you almost done? I don't know if you already covered this. Maybe I missed it, but is it just about to the end?
Well, it was actually built in October of 2019 in a factory. So it's a factory built custom modular home.
Oh.
It was put on the site on the foundation, which was also factory built foundation. Precast walls were dropped in on top of a tamped down gravel bed. Yeah. Oh, the basement is awesome. The basement temperature doesn't ever change from 64 degrees, no matter what the outside weather is.
What's the reason?
It's like some kind of thermal walls or something, like some kind of lock or something.
Yeah, it's 11-inch thick walls, about 3.5 of concrete, and about 8 inches of styrofoam. So they're cast like they're actually like their parking lot. They used to make decks for parking lots or for parking garages, and now they flipped them this way and put a cap on either end. And it's a foundation wall.
Interesting. Now, 8
and
inches.
They're all sealed. There's sealant, 2 beads of sealant for every member that's put together, and then they're bolted together at the top and the bottom.
Interesting.
Yeah, there's some videos. I have a blog site, which is way behind the Facebook page with updates, but spohnhome.com, SPOHNHOME.com.
Spohn Home.
There's some, it's like ET Spohn Home.
Yeah. That's clever. I'll give you that.
Thank you.
I've never heard of precast walls before. Like an 8-inch wall. And again, I don't know nothing about construction or engineering or anything like that, but an 8-inch wall doesn't seem like it'd be thick enough to hold up a house. Like,
well, it's 3 inches of 6,000 PSI concrete.
Strong concrete.
And it's like a rib structure. So it's like a C-shaped thing with a rib in the center.
Oh, okay.
That's 3 inches thick, and then the cavity is filled with foam.
Oh, interesting.
It seems like a huge process. I feel like if I was to do the same thing as you, building from the ground up, I feel like I'd go crazy. I really would. I obsess. I try to plan. I hate to say it, but I'm a micromanager. So I would go nuts. I think I would lose my mind.
I think I'm going to go nuts because Nate Adams told me that I have to remodel my house now. And he said, if I don't, we can't be friends anymore. So I have to remodel my house, and we're going to be gutting half of the house at a time. That's the plan. And not really sure how we're going to work that out. Move downstairs, it's some logistical stuff to deal with.
But Bill, to answer your question, we moved in on November 16th, and everything's not like unpacked yet, but we're living here. We've been sleeping here since November 16th.
Oh.
Now, with the type of home that you built, is there a lot of off gassing? Is there a lot of VOCs coming out?
Good one.
Any different than a normal built home?
We used OSB for like the floors and things like that. So it was factory built, so we couldn't ask the factory to change too many of their processes. We pushed them to sort of a limit, and I think we got about 85% of what we wanted or what our goal was to get for, but we compromised on the other stuff. I do actually have a monitor like the Haven called it's my ventilation system called a Serve 2 that has a VOC, CO2, and temperature and humidity sensors in it. And I can set it up to trigger on different, on VOC level, on CO2 level. And it tracks as historical values of VOCs, and they're kind of high. So I'm running the ventilation a little bit more. Not quite sure what's causing them. I do definitely see, like when we do, like before we moved in, we did a lot of cleaning, and cleaning day was like 4,000 ppm VOCs, but now it's running 1,500 to 2,000, a little bit higher than I'd like.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. I think it's, yeah, I just don't know. I just don't know how I would handle it. I think my wife would hate me at the end, just the whole process, because I think I would be obsessing about everything. And hearing your stories that you've told and reading the stories that you told about the process and having to wait for people and just the construction process, it just sounds like it'd be crazy. I mean, I guess it's a first world problem, but we should be thankful for those kind of things, I've been doing a lot of that lately too, thinking about how thankful I am for my petty problems. I'm worried about this or that. There's so many people worried about things that are much worse than
Major things. Yeah.
we have to do. So, but
I
right
worry
on.
about a lot of stuff, like trying to keep my beard straight.
Jeez, like Paul Abdul, but
Got a lot of big problems. A lot of big problems going on over here.
Yeah.
So Bill, I had like a overall general question for you. With going back to Trutech Tools, where do you see it, or it's an interview style question anyway, but like for the next 5 years, do you have any specific goals in mind? Like where do you see it going? Anything you want to accomplish with it?
It's funny. Like a lot of companies have like strategic plans every year.
Mm-hmm.
We just kind of sit down and we go through what happened last year. What do we think is going to happen this year? Let's get ready for it, but let's be ready to adjust. So that's what we sort of pride ourselves on, is the ability to adjust to things. Like we can just plan all kinds of things at the beginning of the year and then end up not achieving them, but achieving other things. Yeah. So, like going into, with the world shutting down with COVID, our sales dropped, 48% in 2 weeks.
Yeah,
and it was like March 15th. And then we started to rise back out of that. And by April 15th, we were doing okay. And because we were set up online and it was hard to get the stuff that we sold at bricks and mortar, people were buying from us. And then the vendors saw that and they started to feed us more. And we just took off and we grew 30% last year.
Wow.
That's great. As a business in general, I run a small refrigeration business, and we're down 20% but I'm in California too, so that's a lot different than everywhere else. But I mean, but again, we're okay. But I mean, it's definitely a learning experience for all of us, going through all this. Nobody expected.
We didn't have to let anybody go. We actually hired a couple more people. And everybody stayed safe, sent a bunch of office people home to work and did some rotation on that and masked up in the warehouse and things like that. Nobody got sick. So
that's great. It's all good stuff for sure. So
now, before the show, Bill, you were kind of giving us a quick rundown of some of the stuff you were doing, and you have, you're involved in a book that's coming out with Mr. Jim Bergman and Brian Orr. Yeah.
The service guide. The vacuum guide for service engineers, and it was written by Saunders and Williams in 1959, and it's sort of like the art of vacuum science, and a lot of what Jim is teaching now and is getting conveyed through Brian and other channels is built out of that book. We actually bought a company called Fiery Chill at Trutech, and we were selling the book that Fiery Chill had. It was thermal engineering, and they and I approached them and said, we want to buy some more books, and they're like, we're not going to print that anymore. And it's like, oh, can I buy the copyright? So I did. Oh, wow. It was sort of like out of copyright, so it was more symbolic than anything. But they sent it to me, and all they had was this photocopied 1980s version of photocopied. So my son scanned it. I edited it just for what it was there and sort of sat on it for 2 years and always wanted to collaborate with somebody on it. And Jim's like, I'm ready. I got bandwidth now to finish this off. So he did. And he worked with Brian Orr, and he's taken everything that was in there from the original version and made it more clear, but it's still basically intact, and added probably 50, 60 pages of up-to-date things with the new tools and new procedures and things like that.
So he just kind of modernized the.
Yeah, and he did it all at once. I mean, he validated, clarified the old version, distilled it, but there's even some of the same old illustrations in it. They're kind of corny illustrations from the mid 50s or late 50s. So it's kind of interesting to kind of hybrid. What's that?
The corny illustrations always make a book.
Yeah, it does.
You know, it's a good book.
It's the things you really remember.
In chat. Sorry.
So is the book? Forgive my ignorance on this, but is the book just about pulling vacuums and everything that goes with it? Then. Yeah,
it's about understanding how vacuum science works.
Like reasons behind it as well. The reason why you need to pull vacuum on systems.
Right.
Okay. Good.
And so it'll be like debuting at the HVACR School Symposium in Claremont, Florida, March 11th, 12th, and 13th. Jim will have some copies down there, and then we're gonna kit it with various kits at Trutech, and we're also going to sell it at Trutech.
Yeah, I was bummed out. I went to the symposium last year, but I'm not going to be able to go this year. So I'm going to be doing an online presentation, but it's not the same as actually going to the symposium.
Yeah, same is true for me. I'm not going this year, but I'll be doing it online.
Yeah, it's definitely if you guys haven't already, you definitely need to go to Brian's website, hvacrschool.com. Sign up. If you can make it to the symposium in person, it's something you don't want to miss. It's an amazing event with lots of great speakers. The ticket price is nothing in comparison to the education you'll get.
I think it's
even
like, $12.
Yeah. What's that?
I do for the online. Yeah. $12
online, but I think it's 100 and some change for the
200 for
200.
in person.
Still.
Yeah.
It's nothing.
Maybe,
and then they
it's
also have an
120.
online. Yeah, they also have an online one too. You think I would be better prepared if I'm trying to plug his event, but I don't even know. But it's definitely worth it for sure. So
we're not prepared for much.
Nah, never prepared. Well, Bill, this has been awesome, and I really, really appreciate you coming on here.
I have one more question.
Oh, sorry. My bad.
Any good books that you recommend, Bill? Any as far as like HVAC stuff or even life in general of accomplishing your goals, how to be the best you can be or something?
The best you can be.
The best you. That's a book I'm going to write, by the way. # copyright.
I buy a lot of books and I read partway through them. And I guess I glean something from them. But I do a lot more online reading of shorter articles now.
Yeah.
There's a thing called Medium. If people aren't familiar with that, medium.com. It's like where like more obscure people are writing things about, health, business, science, psychology, things like that. So that's usually a go-to place for me, medium.com.
Medium.
And you can search for any topic on there.
So it's accredited sort of anyway, or is it like blog style writing?
It's individuals that just publish. Like I know several people that publish on there, but usually the stuff that's more visible, that's more easily searched, is stuff that's good that people like because you can actually, the community votes on it. Mm-hmm. So people can clap if they like the article, and then it rises in visibility.
Oh, interesting. Sounds a lot
better.
And
there's a phone app too, so a Medium, yeah.
Interesting. Much better than the Twilight series that I'm currently working through.
I think we got lots of great topics covered, and I think it's about time to wrap it up.
And you know what? We did pretty good. When there's one guy missing here, it's like we lose an element. It's just
wait, who's missing? Oh, Adam's not here.
Oh wait, the show just ended. It's offline. I'm looking on my computer. I think the show just went offline.
Oh wow, Adam just ended. That's how he does it. So see how he did that.
He must be on the toilet working the computer.
Snuck it out on us. No, Adam's fighting some back pain right now, so that's why he snuck out right now. He's been dying.
I was telling everybody in the chat he pooped his pants.
Well, Bill, this has been awesome. So Adam has officially ended the show. So we're just talking now. So Plug it.
So I got introduced to this concept of this thing called helium, which is a network for communication over long distances, short little packets of data. The network's called LoRa. The interesting thing about it is, and people can contact me more if they want to learn about it, but helium, the helium network, you buy this thing called a hotspot.
Okay.
And the hotspot gives access to different sensors that are out there. So this is the Internet of Things for real. The hotspot itself, as it's working the network and provides coverage and things like that, you earn cryptocurrency.
Interesting.
And I have a helium miner and hotspot right there. Window. I got one of those back in August, and the value in cryptocurrency that I've earned with it is probably around $4,000 since August.
Wow.
Because of the rise in the value of the coin, the helium coin, the helium token, but also it'll just crank out like from 20 to 80 tokens a week.
Wow. That is awesome. I'm definitely going to have to look that up for sure.
Yeah. So when I bought one, there are 4,000 of them in the world. There's now about 18,000. By the end of the year, there'll be 300,000 of these hotspots. So what they're trying to do is provide this thing. So each hotspot covers about 5 square miles of area with little sensors that can send data. So I think it's going to be really interesting in our industry. So when you said, where are things going? What do you think's next? That's my vision for the future. That's IoT.
Creating their own network.
Yeah.
That's
literally you're your own carrier. You're not, the cell. This is like it's not streaming data. Not really. You can't do video or anything like that. 24 bytes of data, really, really tiny chunks of data, but over very long distances.
1 second. Can we just double check we're not back online?
We are back online.
When do we go?
Or Adam will bring us in when we're not aware of it, and then we'll see.
No, the worst. Okay, so we are